Hi, I'm the founder of UseCSV, and I'm stoked to show you around our product, which we've just launched out of beta today. I've built CSV import countless times inside applications, and it's always been one of those things which I wish there was an easy solution for. So we face this problem, and so we built CSV so you can have the most delightful CSV import experience for your users with just a little JavaScript plugin and a webhook to get your data. So first thing you want to do is go to layercode.com and find our UseCSV product, and you can get a free developer account. We have a forever free hobby account, which everyone can use. Then once you've signed up, you'll get taken to our importer admin. So we have a concept of importers, which are kind of like your data models, where you can define the columns that you want your users to match their imports to. So the first thing we're going to do is add unless it's a new importer, create a new importer. Here you'll find some useful advanced settings, which you can look into later. The thing we're going to do first is add some columns. So the data I'm importing today, well, I want people to import a name. And the description is full name, and actually here you can do it with spaces, but actually it's a little bit nicer to do it without spaces. And you can put an example there that people will see. So we have a validation library, so you can pick from a bunch of different common validations that you want the data to conform to. Including date with different date formats, phone numbers, email address. And then on our paid plans, some of the paid plans will also give you access to features like custom regexes, which you can use for much more advanced validation. So in the case of the full name, we're just going to use text. And I'd also like to, this data I'm importing has a review. So I'm going to put that in there, and my great review. And again, this is going to be text. You can also set if things are required or not. So now we've set up our columns. And if you just want to preview your importer whilst you're creating it, you can click this link here, and you'll get a little preview of the user's experience when you've actually implemented your app. You can see here we've got full name and review as the columns here. So next thing we're going to do is integrate UseCSV into our application. So I've set up a Next.js project, which I've just used because it means it's really easy to show you both the front-end side and also the webhook back-end in a single project. But UseCSV works with all the popular front-end frameworks. We have plugins for vanilla JavaScript as well as React and Vue, etc. And you get your data either in a JavaScript callback or in a webhook, and so you can use it with any backend or any front end as well to actually save the data. So in this case, we've just got a basic project, and the first thing we need to do is, first of all, you want to install the UseCSV React plugin, and obviously there's like Vue.js and things like that you can install. So once we've got that installed, the next thing we need to do is import the React library. So then we're going to use the main way you integrate UseCSV in your front end and add an import data button is with our UseCSV component. So with the UseCSV component, there's a few things that you need to pass to it. The first thing is the importer key. So if we go back to our admin here, you'll see here's our key. So we're going to copy that and pop that in there. Now, we've also got this optional user param. So this is a dictionary hash, which you can put any metadata you want in. So for example, if I had a user ID here in my front end and I want to get that in the webhook when I get my data so I know who the data is for, I could just, pretend there's a little, UUID, user ID here. So can pass anything there, and that's really, really useful for kind of matching up the data or importing any additional metadata. By default, we create a button for you, and you can choose the button text here. So now we've got this front end done. Let's start our application. So here is our project, and we've got the UseCSV import button. Now, before I go and show you how this works, I just want to set up the webhook so we can get our data on the other side. So to set up the webhook, I've created a Next.js API root here, and it's just /API/webhook. And so for the purposes of this demo, all we're going to do is log out the webhook that we get. Now we're ready to go. So to test the webhook, I obviously need to give UseCSV a way to kind of access my local machine. So for that, I'm going to use Cloudflare D, which is just a terrific way to create a tunnel, inbound tunnel. So Cloudflare will create a nice tunnel here, and I can copy this URL here. So I'm going to put this local tunnel URL in my webhook URL settings inside UseCSV, and the file root was API webhook. Boom. So now we're ready to test it out. So we're going to pop back to our server here, and now we're going to try the importer. Let's open it up. So UseCSV guides your users through the import experience and gives them lots of kind of nifty little things, like they can download a helpful UseCSV example there. So I've got some test data prepared here. We support all popular file encodings as well. And I can see a little preview of my sample data there. And now comes the most powerful step, which is the column matching. So these are all my import columns, and we've arranged them in a familiar, Excel column way. So users will recognize their data that they've imported here. And so I know, I'm kind of cheating a little bit here, but I know we've got a full name here. So I'm going to match that there. And I know we've got a review here, which is matching to the comments there. Now, quite useful to see is there's a bunch of other data here. And if I had a validation issue, for example, I put a date and it didn't match the date, I'd see that error here, and I can actually edit in line here. So this makes it really easy for users to actually fix their data validation and import issues while they're doing the import, rather than getting to the end, finding there's an error and having to do the whole thing again. In this case, I know it's all valid. So there's no errors here, and it tells me I'm ready to import my data. So I'm going to click import. So now the data is being imported, and we're going to switch back to our app, and we can see here we've got a log of the JSON body we've received to the webhook URL, and these are the rows that we've matched. And so there you have it. Super easy to implement, especially with the webhook. There's a lot of customization options as well. So for example, if you don't want to send the data to us and have a webhook, you can also use a local on-data callback method in the JavaScript and React and everything plugins, which will just mean that we hit that callback with the data that's been uploaded, and you can then save it via the front end if you've already got an easy way to do that. We're developing this and we'd love to get your feedback. There's a bunch of exciting features we have in the pipeline, but I know the best ideas always come from everyone using it in the real world. So, hope you find it useful, and we'll see you soon.